This week on Nerds Who Get Laid Sometimes, the nerds are finally back and they're ready to get down to business. They discuss the recent Netflix cancellations, DC's new Gunn, Pet Sematary remake, and more on this episode of Nerds Who Get Laid Sometimes.
Nerds who get laid, 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 nerds who get laid.
Welcome to a long-awaited, overdue episode of Nerds Who Get Laid Sometimes. Tonight, we have the core four, the true members
The Fab Four.
of
Four
Nerds
core.
Who Get Laid
I like that.
Sometimes.
Some may say the best.
The best, we've just cut off all the useless fat, per se.
No, it's not per se. It's about right.
Well, I don't want
It's
to
a
give
very literal translation of what we did.
bad name.
There's a lot of beer next to me. I think I'm going to drink a lot of it tonight.
So,
Hey, Fat,
tonight, guys.
a bad name.
Bad, a bad name. Tonight, it's your co-host here, Mike.
No.
With us, we have Chuck,
Hi, guys.
TJ,
Hello.
Ray,
Hey,
and we will have Nathan joining us a little later.
wait. What's the over and under that he's gonna pussy out
Hey,
on us
guys.
and not? Hey guys, it went late. I'm not gonna break
Christy's
it.
not feeling good. Well, I got to go. I haven't seen
Yeah.
Marshall in a week.
I was at this bar
was
not
off
drinking all
today.
this beer, and I'm super tired.
He was off today at his house
Yeah.
because his son had a Halloween party. And I would
couldn't-
know because I was there.
That
and I
was
saw
draining.
him there.
He's like, I didn't get to hang out with my kids, so guys, I'm not going to
Yeah.
make it.
So,
So what do we think?
What's
do we
the
think he's gonna
over-under?
actually? Yeah, because he said he should be here in about 17 minutes.
I say
Oh, he said that?
2 to 1.
in the chat earlier. 2 to 1.
2 to 1.
Okay, so
He'll
we'll see
bail.
if he actually shows up or if he actually bails on us.
50-50.
50-50.
50-50.
I think there is a 75% chance that he'll bail.
There's a 95% chance he will
Yes.
be here.
What? 95 that he'll be here.
So
75.
75.
Oh, you said 75 he'll be
75.
here.
75
75
he'll be
that
here.
he will not.
Ray's going 75 he will not.
I'm going 35.
Yeah,
he won't be.
35 he won't be for Chuck.
35% that he won't be here?
Yeah.
That's 65% will.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Fuck it. I said 35.
Okay, so
He's
we
right
can't
down
do
the
math,
street.
everybody.
He's
Yeah.
down the street.
You know what we should do instead of math, because we're terrible at it? Let's do our nerd on. How about
Sounds
that?
Get your nerd on. 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 Get your nerd on.
This is our weekly segment where we talk about the things with which we are nerding out on. So, let's stick to the classics and start with Ray.
All right. Well, first off,
Tell me about your nerd on.
let me tell you about our nerd on.
So how was it?
80% of us from the podcast went to Iceland this last week.
Yes,
Which was
yes.
an-
Iceland, New Jersey. Great theme park.
Yeah, of which only 75% of us that are currently here were in that 80%.
Yes.
That went.
Here
So-
we go, mathing again, fellas.
We are nerds who get laid.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's our math skills that get
Yeah.
us laid.
But
Except
the
actually
nerd,
the
it's not the
time. It
math
works all the
nerds.
So that was pretty exciting. It's my first time in Europe, and only my
mine
second,
as well. Mine
only
as well.
my second time out of the U.S. So it was it was cold there. We swam in a lot. Well, we got in the hot tub a lot, which was funny because it was so cold there, but it was so refreshing to be in such a hot tub.
yeah.
I think this is kind of nerdy. Most of the country is warmed. Everything is geothermal. So the houses had like pipes and stuff going through the walls and the floors, and you would just turn up the volume, the heat volume on those to
I
heat
believe
up the
that's
rooms.
called the temperature.
Yeah. Thermostat, Ray.
I like
You're
heat
turning the
volume better.
thermostat. Oh, God.
Well, actually, if you want to get down to it, it's a heat potentiometer.
But yeah, like we actually we ate in a
Cubby hole.
greenhouse at one point that was completely heated by geothermally and everything, and I felt that was fascinating.
Oh yeah, it's just the hot tub is always ready.
It was
because
always
it's
hot. Yeah.
The
heated
hot tub
by
was
the fucking planet.
yeah. The thing with the hot tub was you didn't have to heat it up. You had to wait for that fucker to cool down.
Yeah, we had to take the top off of it so it would cool down enough that we wouldn't burn our asses off.
I'm
in it.
still thoroughly convinced the Airbnb lady marketed it as a hot tub while it was actually a stew pot.
Yes. Oh my god.
It was really great though, because it would be like 30 degrees outside, and I would get in the hot tub, and I would get hot, and I would like get out of it and just stand there in my bathing suit for like 20 minutes, just out in the 30-degree temperature. Fine.
Yeah.
I was so warm from the hot tub. It was fascinating, and we had this beautiful view of this mountain over this lake and everything. So at night, we just go out there and hang out in that, and then stand out on the porch for a little bit,
Looking for the fucking northern lights.
which we actually finally saw one night. So yeah, it was an out of control experience. Really cool. If you're thinking or looking for a place to go, that's a little off the radar, I would absolutely recommend Iceland.
No, it is getting way more popular, so you don't have to worry about nobody speaking English or having to deal with people you may not be familiar with.
Yeah.
Everyone's very friendly. Everyone's very polite. You don't have to worry about that. I will say we were definitely, and here's my ass kissing portion of it, really benefited from a lot of the planning that Ray and Nathan's wife Christy did.
Did a lot of planning.
Yeah, a lot of planning. It made for a great experience. There were very few hang-ups. It was stuff that, you really can't prepare for, like lights going out on one of our vehicles, things like that.
Yeah.
So, if you are going to go, definitely plan, because there's a lot of things you can do. The entire country is a tourist attraction.
Yeah, we were talking about this. There's a road that goes completely around the entire island. It's called Ring Road or
the
Highway
Golden
1.
Circle.
Golden Circle's actually the inner part of that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we only did like a quarter of that, probably of the bottom, the southern portion of Iceland.
And there was a lot of stuff we skipped over.
Yeah, and you would just drive, and everything was beautiful. It was like a different world.
Yeah, it was like being on a different planet. Just rock built and hewn and just destroyed with glaciers and volcanoes.
Yeah, lots of volcanic rock, and then strange moss growing on it. There was one day that I swear to God, we just drove, and there were just mountains with waterfalls, one after another, just these beautiful waterfalls. And we were actually making stops at a few of these, but then we would just keep going, and we'd be like, what this one's just as beautiful as the one we just went to that was a tourist attraction.
In people's backyards.
Yeah.
They're just... It's a really amazing place. If you're into nature, hell, if you're into Lord of the Rings, go there.
Yeah, they're very into
a lot of imagery.
Yeah, and they're one of the things that the Icelandic people believe in is the trolls and the elves, and it sounds ridiculous until you go to this place, and it's like, no wonder you live in a fucking fairy tale world. This place is insanely cool. So no wonder you believe in this stuff, because now I do.
Yeah. It's just really cool.
Yeah, and a beautiful, beautiful country. But
I enjoyed all the pictures y'all had posted from it.
I haven't even posted a lot of mine. I've
just
still
from what
gotta
y'all
edit them.
y'all
Ray's
put
got
on
the only pictures of the inside of that cave that we went in. That showed you that.
Yeah.
It's Nathan's butthole.
So there was one. There was one
Well,
day
a lot of people been in that cave, Mike.
where there's a waterfall there that you can hike actually behind the waterfall, the whole way behind it, and a few of us did that. I know TJ did it, and Nathan, and a few others.
I did not.
Katie did.
Yeah, some people didn't, because you could get very wet while doing it. But there was another like trail that you could walk that took you by 2 or 3 other waterfalls.
Yeah.
And me and TJ decided let's go because there was another thing that was a couple of 100 meters further, and we're like, well, let's go check that out.
Yeah, the others all turned around about 3/4 of the way there, and
Because it looked like there was nothing. You couldn't see what it was. And we go around this bend and we see these people, like, there's a river, and there's these people, like, walking along these rocks. And I'm like, I don't know about this. We both have, like, waterproof boots, and our pants and coats are, like, water resistant and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. But I saw some people go in there, and I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. So me and TJ actually kind of hike in through that.
Yeah.
And it's not much of a hike or anything. It's just a couple of yards probably through this.
The biggest part of it was I wasn't sure how deep the water was if you didn't step on the rocks. So, 'cause they had like rock stepping stones.
Yeah.
So we stepped on the stepping stones, go back in there, and it's like some kind of like magical world where
it looks like something you would see on like Indiana Jones or something. Yeah. It's inside a cave, but once you get into the cave, the whole thing opens up, and there's just this waterfall, and there's these giant rocks, and we like stood up on the rocks and just like
it was some straight Goonies shit.
It absolutely was, man. It was just there was so much adventure.
Some of the pictures in there, but like that, and some of the black beaches, and some of just the crazy geological formations, just right outside, just rushing, crashing waves. We've turned into a nature podcast.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Well, I guess we were wrong. Nathan made it. Or I was wrong.
75% chance he'd make it. I got it.
Usually right there.
I can't help it. Fucking it.
They can't hear you. You're not on a mic, Nathan.
Oh, trust me, I'm talking loud enough that people can hear me.
No, not really, bro.
So, moving on, we had a plane ride all the way there, and of course, there's all kinds of music, movies, TV shows, and stuff like that. And he's gone now again. So how does that stand? Does that mean he did show up, but then he left?
He's on mic.
He asked real fast.
He didn't get on mic though. Technically,
That's true. So we'll have to see how this plays out, guys.
Yeah.
I ended up watching the movie Arrival. Is what it comes down to. I haven't seen this before. It's Amy Adams, I believe, and Jeremy Renner.
Yes,
and,
Jeremy Renner.
Is it Renner?
Renner.
Yeah. Okay. Hawkeye. Either way. And I've been wanting to see this for a while, and it was one of the movies on there. So on the way back, I watched it, and it was really good. It was excellent. I'd heard really good things about it. It wasn't your typical like sci-fi film, even though it's about aliens and everything. But I really, really, really enjoyed it. So I would absolutely recommend that. Also, leading up to and yesterday, I watched most of Daredevil, season 3, which has been really great. I'm hoping that they continue on with the way this is going, because it's D'Onofrio is he's just excellent as Kingpin.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the guy is that they have playing Bullseye, but he is creepy and really good. Karen's really kind of come into her
Colin
own.
Farrell?
It's not. I wish it was. But yeah, that has been really good. I've got, I think, 2 episodes left of it.
Did he kill a fat guy with a paperclip?
In the throat?
No, he did not. But he did use chandelier crystals at one point, which was pretty cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
You said Chandler's ears from Friends?
Chandler's ears from Friends. I also watched an episode of Titans on DC Universe, but we'll talk about that a little bit later because we had a question of the week on it. And we started watching. Allison, we had seen the previews for this show called The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell.
That's boring as shit.
Have you seen it? You are dumb. It is so
You are so
weird.
dumb.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird.
It was like Elvira meets the Muppets with a Martha Stewart or Rachel Ray influence.
So anything like the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
I haven't seen that
because
before.
that name is just as silly.
It is. It really is. But yeah, it's. We only watched like an episode and a half while half the guys were here.
Yeah.
And I'm just so intrigued by it because it is so strange.
It's a how-to for Pinterest.
kind of, but not really, because she
No, that's exactly
sort
what
of
that
shows
is.
you how to do stuff, but not really.
She's showing you how to do it, but it's like you got to have some equipment.
Yeah,
Is what it is.
absolutely.
And some skills.
Well,
it
but she
comes
only
across-
shows you how to do part of the thing.
But the whole thing about it is, I mean, the whole show is kind of a guide of how to make her creations.
Yeah.
But she is professional as all get out.
Oh yeah, and apparently she got famous on Instagram,
Reddit.
doing this stuff.
No, Reddit. She got really big on Reddit. Like every time she'd post, she'd be like front of the page, blowing up and stuff like that. And then that probably helped. But like that's where I remember seeing her for a long time.
There's this, speaking of Reddit, there's a subreddit called The Rest of the Fucking Owl. And what it'll do is it'll be like these really vague directions on how to do something very complicated.
I know what you're talking about.
So it would be like, drawing Magneto, start with his face, and it'll be, like the circle with the line crossed in the middle, and then it's like,
Do the
then
rest
draw
of it.
everything else. With this Magneto. Like, that's how I felt like you said that, because like, it's not really the same, but it's just as funny.
That seems like a lot of her instructions on that
she's
show
like,
too.
she's going through it, but she's like telling you steps that I'm like, I would say 90% of people watching this will never do it. Because it's like her making the bone, and it's like, all right, we're gonna take a pretzel, and we're gonna roll out, like she's like, we're gonna roll out some clay. I was like, okay, this seems simple so far. And she's like, all right, now we're gonna freeze it, and then we're gonna pull it out, and we're gonna use molding clay, and we're gonna start chipping away. I was like, all right, this is getting pretty difficult. She's like, now we're gonna take a small drill and drill holes into it. I was like, yeah, right. And she's like, now take your airbrush, and you want to airbrush in all these lines to give definition. I was like, fuck you, no one's doing this.
Does a list come with a home video of equipment you're going to need?
I was like, you should have went over the equipment guide first.
Yeah.
Because I would have totally skipped this episode.
Even like furniture instructions from IKEA tell you what tools you have to have in advance.
But I do enjoy the show because it's so funny, because she definitely, you can tell, is more amateur. Her on-screen persona is very stiff.
Yes, yeah.
Very stiff. And that might get better as the show progresses. Who knows?
Yeah.
I only watched one episode myself.
And I think that was part of a part of the actual character. But it going from doing stuff on like YouTube and Instagram to being a Netflix show, I can't say it doesn't translate, because it does. It's just strange, and it
Odd for it to be like a
yeah.
television show.
Yeah, it could be part of her, like, just oddities. Of her, because like I said, it does remind me. It reminds me of a lot of a show that I really liked called Pushing Daisies.
I love that show.
I love that show.
It was
so good.
Gardening show?
We were robbed.
Yes.
Pushing daisies.
Is it a gardening show?
Is it a what?
Yes, it was a show about like daisies and planting, but it was like it had a lot of character to the like. They would explain like where the seeds came from.
I thought it was about selling daisies. Like they had to push them out the door. Like sell these fucking daisies.
I thought it was about bullying people named Daisy.
No, it's about this lady, and like she literally makes daisies for a graveyard, and like she does all the
death
reefs
related. Oh, obviously pushing.
She did all, it was like showing how like you make death reefs.
Case.
It was a very niche.
You're a daisy if you do.
Yeah.
Back to this show though. Katie had come in during part of it, watched part of it with us, and all.
And she fell asleep.
No, she didn't fall asleep.
So it's
but then it was.
She fell asleep.
But we were talking like, well, our daughter would probably really like this because our daughter's 11, and I feel like
swear to
this
God,
would
TJ,
be like a kids type thing.
I'm this close, and if you could see this, it's very close to.
It's less than an inch, viewers.
Buying her a record player and getting her like Susie and the Banshees records and Bauhaus and stuff like that, because I think she would dig it.
I would get her the Bauhaus, man.
He's dead.
Please don't do that.
I hear they have a hit song.
Undead.
But no, I think our daughter would like this because it seems geared towards that.
I don't know who it's geared towards.
Girl type thing.
TJ knows preteen girl niches. Sparkles, they love sparkles.
I mean, I will say
TJ would know.
The lady herself is extremely talented. Like the things she would do on Reddit where she got famous. No, I'm just fucking Ray. But like, I mean, that's where I remember seeing her from.
One of the ones
she turned her house into like this weird audit. She like made these huge like cutouts of eyes and wings, and like her parents would just like had an old Victorian house and pretty much just let her do whatever she wanted to with.
One of the ones we watched, she made a tea set out of chocolate.
Yeah.
And she showed you how to do the plates, and she showed you how to do
it'd be a
the
mess.
cups. But then she was like, it was like that, like the owl, and it was like, and then just make your teapot.
Yeah.
It didn't show any of that
She's like, I showed
stuff.
you how to make the cup. Now just do it bigger.
That's how I put my years of chocolate cutlery to use.
Get a square balloon with a with a flat edge on it and make your teapot.
It's interesting. I'm not sure. We'll probably keep watching it because it's probably only like 10 episodes or something. And they're really short episodes. But there's also puppets in it involved. Is the other weird thing. So that's why
it's
Muppets,
against their will.
It's pretty cringe.
Muppets meet Elvira meets Rachel Ray or something weird.
Yeah, I think it's Jim Henson's son that's working on it with
is
her.
it? Okay.
Yeah,
Slim Henson.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I remember you said you pointed that
Slim
out.
Henson.
Don't mess around.
That's his
Slim
alter ego after he died. Quote,
I am
quote,
my son,
died.
Slim Henson. I am Jim Henson's son, Slim Henson.
Because he's immortal, just like most of these Hollywood people.
No, there's a living
Jim
puppet
Henson was
somewhere
his
with
actual
Jim
was
Henson's
actually a puppet.
soul.
His brain.
Well, this didn't make it to the news, but it's kind of sad, and it fits along with this. The guy that's played Big Bird for like 50 years retired. So
It's not sad. He made it.
he did make
Got
it.
too big for his britches.
You had to play apparently you have to play Big Bird for 50 years to be able to retire. I hope he was 15 when he started.
on that sweet PBS money.
Yes, Sam. I finally shaved up enough. Thank God.
No, he's like,
That
I'm
soap
enough
was
to do
itchy.
HBO for 1 year.
I'm finally making less enough money to get on unemployment.
That asbestos bird
I'm
suit was
finally-
itchy.
I'm finally old enough to draw Social Security at full value
So
now.
I'm now saying fuck this bird and fuck all you guys.
Big Bird sucked.
All right, that's it for me.
Yeah, well, I went to
It's been a
Iceland.
great podcast.
Yeah, that was fun. Also, saw Arrival for the first time.
What did you think of it?
It took me a second
thought
while
you
you
had
were talking about
I thought you
Arrival.
had seen it before.
No,
I didn't know you saw
it
on
was the
plane.
first time.
I loved that movie.
To
I
kind
thought
of
it was great.
Great movie.
to give an idea of why we all saw the same movie separately. The plane we took over to Iceland had a very large selection of movies.
Of good movies.
A lot of which I had never seen. And some other people here, like Ray as well. The one that we both saw was Arrival, starring Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. It's a couple years old,
Reiner.
so it's been out for a while. To give you kind of a gist, aliens show up in 12 different places over the planet, and we have no way to communicate with them. They're not hostile. So we're trying to figure out what they want. And Amy Adams, a linguist, and I think Jeremy Renner's just a straight biologist. They try to
He
create.
was a scientist.
Yeah, he was just scientist.
he's like the
I am
comic book
scientist.
scientist.
Yeah.
So
It's Hawkeye
they're scientists
undercover.
on
Don't you see
everything.
my lab coat?
Yes, and my glasses. I am intelligent.
I do the science.
That's
All
what they
of
did.
it.
I have a yellow legal pad I carry around.
So they basically spend the majority of the movie under a timeline because the world's freaking out. There's aliens. Different countries are speaking with them, and everyone's afraid. Everyone's getting the upper hand. So there's like a time frame to this, and the movie is them trying to figure out a way to communicate with the aliens to figure out what they want. And I'm sure many people have seen this and know that it's a good movie. But for those who haven't, yes, the premise sounds a little strange, a little boring, but it's very good. Very good.
Did you ever, man, I can't remember the name of the diving bell and the butterfly. Is that a movie?
In the bell jar?
No. Bell jar and the butterfly? Diving bell and the butterfly? I can't remember. There was a weird indie film a couple of years back that won some it had some elements of that, but like light elements of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if I remember correctly, it was from the perspective of a person who was deaf and blind.
Man, I bet that camera work
The
was
visuals
pretty
were
easy.
really good, yeah. But it had a lot of weirdness in the way it was shot, like that. But like I said, like a light version of it. I thought it was a lot different than just a normal like sci-fi film. It wasn't like a big budget. It didn't have that feel of a big budget sci-fi film.
Now, The Arrival, isn't that Villanueva, Mike?
Actually, yeah, it is.
That's why you liked it.
Denis Villeneuve. That's how I decided to pronounce it.
I thought Arrival. Oh shit! I was saying a different movie. It was about a flight attendant that is like trying to meet her love interest across, I think in England, and she's going to arrive on time.
Mine was the shitty Charlie Sheen alien movie called Arrival from the 90s.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Was Denise Richards in that with him?
Probably. That was the Denise Richards time frame. That's her heyday. She was the height of civilization in the Matrix, 1999. That's Denise Richards.
Wild Things.
So, oh man, that movie.
You just made Mike jizz in his pants right there just thinking about it.
That VHS tape, it needed some serious
It was
tracking
warped on a few
at that
scenes.
particular scene, yeah.
I've never liked champagne, but you pour it on them titties, I drink too.
Yeah. Give me 2 tubs of brute, baby. So I saw that, and forgive me, it's been a hot minute. I've never seen 16 Candles. Really good movie. Classic 80s. John Hughes. Because we were in a plane headed to Europe, they showed titties. Very alarming to me because I was like, "Oh, kids!" But there were no kids around me. I was on a row by myself. I was laying down watching.
Give me
it
all
was
the
very
titties.
nice.
I watched the first Deadpool, and there's full fucking on that one. So that
I'm like
felt
ass fucking.
somewhat awkward.
Really?
Yeah. I also saw T2 again.
It's like a whole calendar section of that movie, Chuck.
I will say,
I remember that.
I've reached some point in my life where T2 has more meaning to me now, and I'm not gonna lie, I teared up a little bit.
I know why.
Damn it!
It's the last good Terminator I'm going to see.
Oh man, it
in my
hurt my
lifetime.
heart. I saw Isle of Dogs for the first time.
Oh, I love Isle
Really
of Dogs.
good movie. I love Wes Anderson animation films. They just have so much heart to them.
So much quirkiness.
So yeah, it's funny. The voice acting was great, and that movie jerked a couple of tears out of me too. Damn it! Basically cried the whole way back. I think I was depressed about leaving. I don't know. Man. Oh, and Tag, which we've talked about Tag before.
Yeah.
John Hamm.
I had never seen it.
Never seen it. Ed Helms. Jeremy Renner again.
I think they had a agreement on the airplane to show Jeremy Renner's like centric-based movies.
Like Jeremy Renner's like outside of the plane, like
I think he was
passing people 20s.
I think he was the one flying the plane. He's like, so many people are watching my movies. We're propelled by my own ego.
He's a top investor in Iceland Air.
Funny enough, though, and we'll kind of get off Iceland thing here, but Christy, Nathan's wife, brought it to our attention that the same plane we used to fly there, when flying back after we had departed, had to make an emergency landing in Canada because one of the windows in the cockpit exploded outwards, and they needed to, that was probably a refreshing blast of air.
Apparently, the co-pilot had never seen the movie Tag and was finally watching it and during one of the big Jeremy Renner specific scenes, threw his laptop towards the window.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So other than that, I've been really catching up on Preacher season 3.
Hallelujah.
Thing I love about the show is every season there's something new. Generally, there's an obstacle you have to get over, but it's always new characters. The characters that you have are very rich. The show's also really, really religiously offensive, which I find pretty funny and offensive at the same time. And it has its own strange heart to it. But the show is just vile and grotesque, and I don't know how they have it on.
It's AMC.
It's AMC, but it's not as childish as Ash versus the Evil Dead. But I would say the gore is on a very similar level. Like at one point they're trying to get Cassidy the vampire away from these vampire hunters who just every night they make him fight people to the death.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the main guy, preacher, he's there as well. It's his family who's doing it. So, and he's trying to get Cassidy out of there. So he's like, "I'll take care of him," and he fucking chops Cassidy up into pieces. And like, "Oh my god, he's turned." In the next scene, he's trying to mail him off in FedEx. Like, "Shut up, dude!" And he's like putting parts in a box. And
Was that in season 1?
that's season 3.
Oh.
But the very first episode of season 1, Cassidy has to jump out of a plane and he explodes when he hits the ground.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
It's
but
violence is always allowed, man. It's the sex it's the sex that gets the people.
Now, if he was fucking Cassidy,
Yeah,
you'd have a problem.
you
then.
show a titty and people would be upset.
Yeah.
well, it's
Blow
actually
someone's
funny
head
because
off.
Cassidy is hooked up with this like classical vampire, like looking like Lestat. And he's like, "Let me show you how it's done." And he has all these vampire powers. Like, all Cassidy can really do is just regenerate and not die from taking a lot of drugs. That's his vampire power. This guy can fly and everything. And so he's like, "Let me show you." And he does this glamour thing and brings over this lady and starts making out with him. And then the boyfriend comes up and he looks all pissed off and he just looks at him and then starts making out with him too. And it's just fucking crazy. So yeah, it's just a fantastic show, and I highly recommend it. I also started Spider-Man, which everybody's played, and you know, it's kind of it's a little bit of a learning curve because a lot of buttons do a lot of different things in a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
So I'm getting kind of used to that.
I feel like that in a lot of games because I don't play a lot of video games. So when I get into them, I feel like that. Like I have like 3 buttons I use and I limp through the whole game. But I didn't feel like that in Spider-Man, even though I do know that there were a lot of buttons that I was using. So that's interesting for me to hear you say.
Yeah, I feel like the dodge encounters are different in Spider-Man than they are in like Batman or
the control scheme is not a conventional control scheme.
No.
And it's throwing me off right now.
Maybe that's since I don't play so many.
Yeah, like just for example, first-person shooters, almost all of them the buttons are mapped the exact same now, and that's from Call of Duty pretty much.
Yeah.
Just as an example. But I'm not going to harp on it because everyone's talked about how great Spider-Man is, but it is a lot of fun.
How far along are you?
I just beat up Kingpin.
Okay.
And I did some work in Dr. Octavius's lab.
I loved that part of it.
And that's pretty much as far as I got. I was hacking into some towers and
police towers,
and then beating up some bad guys and getting backpack points that do something. I haven't figured out what they do yet.
Nothing. They just give you a suit when you find them all.
So it does something.
They just do what?
Gives you a suit.
And you get some nice
Soup. You get soup. You get a
nice
hearty
soup.
warm soup.
Spider soup. Just made of spider.
You get some nice
And it
history
tells
too.
you-
Yeah, I like all
yeah.
the little things that are in the backpack.
Well, yeah, there's like a spider plushie and some other things.
I was pretty ignorant at first and skipped a lot of them. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Just give me my.
I think they just introduce a lot to you at first.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'll read the tutorials. I'm like, okay, that's how you take out a brute. And I'm like, fuck, how do you take out a brute again? You know, and I got to figure out the controls. And Kingpin whipped my ass a few times.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, in general, that's it for me.
What do you think of the J. Jonah Jameson
the show
webcast?
I've only heard one of his shows, and it's just him just yelling and telling everybody to shut their mouths.
I love all of it.
That's exactly what I thought it would
It's so
be.
good.
You'll just be webbing along and it'll just pop up. They give you an option to mute them. I recommend not muting them.
There was an option?
No,
'Cause
Yeah,
I didn't even see it.
No. I will say though, and this is my last thing. The first thing they got right was the web slinging. It is really good system.
Mhm.
It's very fluid. There is a little bit getting used to, but if you know how the system works, you can pretty much move indefinitely.
Yeah, and once you get used to like doing the snap, pulling yourself to points and jumping off of those, you can just zip around the city fast. Speaking of Spider-Man, since you mentioned that, I platinumed that this week.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Platinums are a lot of fucking work. I don't think I've ever platinumed a single game.
It's my 18th.
Well,
Good God.
Yeah, and some
Humble
of them.
brag.
Well,
That wasn't even a humble brag. That was just a flat out, here's my cock.
Well, no, he
brag.
explained last night some of the games.
Yeah.
He
I told the guys some of the other ones I'd
each
done.
trophy's an inch
It's
to my
like
keg.
like Mass Effect 2, Fallout 3,
Uncharted 1 and 2.
Uncharted. But the one I'm most proud of though is Batman Arkham Asylum, because that had two of the hardest challenges I've ever had in a video game that just made me want to just fucking throw a controller through a screen.
Yep.
So, but anyway, go on, Mike. What else do you have?
That was it.
That's it for Mike.
I want to talk to Chuck. Chuck, what's your shit, man?
Well, I cried a lot at night because I missed you guys, because I was looking at all y'all's pictures on Instagram and Facebook from the beautiful, beautiful experience y'all had in Iceland. But other than that,
Beautiful.
it was beautiful. It was amazing. The only thing is, like, the guys explained to me, y'all didn't get to see any puffins or anything
No
because they were
puffins
on the
or
other
Arctic.
side.
Yeah. No puffins or Arctic foxes.
I saw my first raven. I was under the impression crows and ravens were the same thing.
No.
They're not.
No,
Ravens
And-
are huge.
And ravens don't make a caw sound.
no.
They grunt at you. They go. It's very alarming. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, and
Like, oh, it's a gigantic bird.
But other than that, I beat Spider-Man finally, so I think I'm the last one
Poor
besides
Peter.
Mike. The story mode, just amazing. I know you guys have talked about it. The ending got me
oh, yeah.
pretty much in the feels. I was like, that's tip. I could see that happening to Parker if he was a real life person. Just that, what happens with him.
Yeah, and the characters and the voice acting and everything are so good in it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
I don't want to speak any more on that because Mike is now going through it. But other than that, I finished the original series of Full Metal Alchemist, and I started Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which
This is the actual anime?
yes.
Okay. 'Cause I think there is a Netflix
They made a movie.
live action.
There's a running joke about how every anime they make, Netflix does is terrible.
Yeah.
Way
But,
terrible.
I love those memes. Though. They're so fun.
They
But
are.
pretty much, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's how the guy who made it wanted it originally done for an anime, and so it starts off like the first 6 episodes are literally like the first 20 of the original series compressed down.
So are they just really long?
No, it's like
they're really
They
fast.
edit
they
I
edit it.
fast
It's like
forward through the whole thing.
they
So
fast
it's at
forward and then-
1.5.
pretty much like Audible, like Mike's saying. You listen to 1.5, it speeds it up, but it's to the point now where they're expanding on things that they didn't in the original series. So I have my gripes about it, and there's things about it I do enjoy.
Not enough wrestling.
No, but the fighting has been a lot better apparently in this version of it. But
Doesn't look as fake.
no, it looks it's more glorious. Like this one guy, he's the Iron Blood Alchemist. He literally starts turning his body into like fucking cannons, and he turns himself into a tank at one point.
Oh.
I don't
That's-
know about this.
Sorry, Ray,
He
but
is
I don't
an
care about you.
alchemist.
But other than that, started and burned through season 2 of The Good Place, and I think I'm the first or second episode done with the season 3 of The Good Place.
Wait, what now?
The Good Place.
Oh, season 3's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, on
We
Hulu.
watched like the first episode, and I forgot all about that. Season 3 was out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about
I
it.
got to
'cause
catch up on
you
them.
have
There's
the
like 2 or
tie-in
3.
with
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think Michael's from season 2 is my favorite character.
Thank you.
Just I know. But just the overall development of him from season 1 to season 2, where he's actually trying. It looks like he's trying to care about the 4, or is it his motives because he doesn't want to get killed? And it's so good.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite moments was the burrito.
No, I just
I don't know
love
if
when
that's-
he's talking on the train. It's one of the best lines from the show, I think. Like, whenever I have a problem, I just throw a Molotov cocktail, and then I have a whole new set of problems.
And then when he does it in the museum, he's
Yeah.
like, Bortles! But
Yeah.
no, when they think it's the judge, but it's just a burrito.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
It sounded like you thought it was
I thought it was funny.
A lot more than kind of funny.
I thought it was funny, man.
Chuck was fucking rolling around on the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
Like maybe he
You're
woke
amazing.
up his neighbors.
Funniest thing
You're
ever,
probably
Nathan.
like bruising
The
your
funniest
legs.
thing ever, Nathan.
You just
It was
like
amazing.
Check his knees for
Beat me,
bruises.
Just.
All his fists and
I'm just
handshake
saying,
bruises.
don't say
I'm
it's
just
kind of
saying-
funny when
No,
you were
this
like,
is funny.
it was really funny.
It was funny, man.
Yeah, if you say something is kind of funny 5 times in a row, it's probably really funny.
Yeah. I'm
To
being
you.
subtle about it, dropping hints. That's pretty much all I've done, man.
Let's go to Moe's. You'll laugh a lot.
DJ.
All right. So I watched the new season of Making a Murderer started up this week.
Did he do it?
I don't know. They're on. I watched 2 episodes of the second season. So
I watched
What if you get?
some.
What if they do like 5 seasons deep, and the last episode they're like,
he did it?
"Oh shit, oh man, we found this other stuff," and
well, I just did a
he
quick.
definitely
Is it
did
on the same person? The
Yeah.
Yeah,
season
it's on
2
the
is?
same
Yeah.
guy.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, they're updating on what's happened in the case since
See,
then.
because if I remember correctly, outside of the document,
Mhm.
I believe the nephew does get out.
They just put his ass
Actually,
back in. I
he's
think.
back in. He
Oh,
never
really?
was released from custody, but they a federal court overturned it, and then it came back. And then
He
the
had to
states,
be put back in. He got 3rd-degree felony for looking like John Denver.
but no, yeah, they're both still in prison, and they're kind of out of federal appeals at this point.
You know, the issue that, and I haven't watched the season, but like from the first season when I was reading about it, apparently the people making the documentary like really omitted a whole lot of other things that were part of
They
it.
address all that
Do
in the
they?
first episode back.
Okay.
They address the stuff that they didn't talk about. They talk about the victim's family a little more and how this is impacting the victim's family and stuff. And so that's a lot of the first episode is doing that kind of stuff, like covering those bases.
I was curious if they were going to.
Yeah, they and then the second episode is going into the new attorneys and stuff like that, and where they came from and how they got them on there. And one of the ones I found interesting was the new attorneys for the boy, which I think is of either of them, he's the one that's fucking railroaded on this thing.
I agree.
Is they're going around the country doing tours, and they're like, this is the poster child. They're doing lectures on coerced confessions, and
Using
this
him.
is what they're showing is like minute by minute of this confession that this kid brings
out
up.
of everything, like in the first season, that's what made me the most angry. Is like you watching it's 100%. They just used this stupid kid and just
And they fed him
Led him.
everything,
Yeah.
every bit of the evidence that they wanted him to say. Is they're like feeding him. It's like, what did he do next?
well, no. You said
what did
earlier, right?
Yeah, what did he have you do with the knife?
Stabbed him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you stabbed.
It's like,
From what I understand,
do
that's very typical of like police
Yeah,
interrogating people.
and it's super like you're not supposed to do that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not their job is to get someone to confess. It's the court's job to prove whether he
innocence.
is or not.
Yeah, well, I say it's a big thing that they there's a lot of discussion around it because they essentially feed you the answers and then come back and then get you to confess to it. Which
Yeah,
I see what you're saying, Ray, on that part. But
Yeah.
as an officer of the law, it's not to like
You
get
should-
someone to false confess. You should really be trying to find the right person.
You should be ethical
Yeah,
about
you
it
should-
also.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't be trying to get the evidence to fit what you want. You should be
Yeah.
getting the evidence to show you what happened.
I think most of the time with not most of the time, but some of the times with that, it's they already have decided they
made a
No,
decision.
100% is what
Yeah.
they're like. This is the guy, and even if
so
the,
we
the
have
pieces,
to figure out how to make this
if
fit.
the pieces aren't fitting, then we're going to make them fit.
Yeah.
and that's very, very unethical.
So they think that I feel like most of the. I mean, there's dirty cops out there, I'm sure, all the time. But I would like to assume that at least most of them think they're doing their best job.
And that's the thing. I look at it as, I look at, okay, most cops that go out there are doing their job, they're doing the right things and stuff like that. But it only takes one or two bad ones to put a bad taste in your mouth for the whole system.
And well, the bigger issue is that a lot of cops don't know they're doing this.
Yeah.
And there's
And they go
obviously going to
into
be cops
that-
that know how to, but a lot of
Yeah.
the cops, when you're interrogating someone for 6 hours, you don't realize that you're feeding them answers and then coming back and pulling the same answers you already gave them out, and then being like, Eureka, I figured it out. This guy's just confessed.
You keep someone in a room and ask them questions for 6 hours. Good God, they're gonna.
They'll say whatever.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me out of here or let me lawyer up or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're arrested, don't say shit. You
Yep,
get a lawyer.
lawyer up.
Nerds
That's-
who get laid.
Yeah.
Don't say shit
Don't
to the
say
police.
shit.
Yep.
Get a fucking lawyer. I don't care what it is.
Mm-hmm. And don't go to a secondary location.
Or say, I plead the fifth. Fifth.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth.
all right.
Yeah, that's Dave Chappelle right there for you with dropping knowledge on you.
Don't do that. That's 5 to 10.
On the plane, we were talking about all the things we've been watching. I watched about 5.5 episodes of Top Gear. I watched it for quite a while, and then I heard that Jeremy Clarkson, those guys, were leaving the show, and I was like, well, I don't really feel like watching this anymore, because that's a lot of the reason I watched it. But I watched it with the newer guys that they got on there, with Matt LeBlanc from Friends is on it, and some other people. And
Weird.
it is weird, because it's still a British show, and he's decidedly
I'm
not
Matt
British.
LeBlanc.
No, he speaks with his American accent and
I know,
everything.
that's what we call a joke in the industry.
Yeah. But aren't jokes supposed to be funny, Mike?
They are, but yeah, but barreling over them it doesn't help at all.
There go
either.
TJ sucking the funny out the
But anyway, it's got a lot of the heart that the older shows had and everything.
That was good. I enjoyed that exchange. TJ over here chucking it all up.
It's about goddamn time.
Then Mike and Nate got me hooked, mostly Nate, on last podcast on the left in the
he's pissed at you now, Mike.
in the car in Iceland. And so I'm scrolling through the list of like their topics that they have and everything. And
there's a perfect TJ topic, right?
there's a perfect topic for me to go.
How good it used to be.
For me to go. I picked Biggie and Tupac's murder.
I was very surprised. When you told me that's the one you were listening to. I was like, really? They have like 300 episodes. And you choose Biggie and Tupac.
It's the most TJ episodes you can pick.
I forgot how gangster TJ was.
Well, TJ, let's get on a brass tacks, man.
No.
Has your opinion changed?
Of what?
Oh gosh.
Did Tupac do it? Is he still alive?
Did he do it or did Tupac do
We
it?
haven't got to that part of it yet. They haven't gotten to the conspiracy of them both being still alive and in Haiti or wherever it is they're supposed to be.
Tupac Shakur.
Well, I just saw something the other day saying they like found Tupac in Southeast Pacific or some shit like
hanging
yeah.
out.
just hanging out, man, retiring, looking just like Tupac,
Living the
not
good
even
life.
hiding. No, man, my name's 3Pac.
That was my brother.
That ain't me.
But-
ain't me, dog.
No, it's
Somebody
very
else.
interesting. The ones we listened to in the car in Iceland were the Donner Party, which was a blast to listen to.
Yes, Men in Black was good, but very dry for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know why they couldn't make
Men in
that very
Black-
funny.
Like by the first episode, I did not enjoy that much. Which I guess we're kind of laying the foundation of the Men in Black theory.
But yeah, the
But
second one got
Second one really started getting me into the
because
whole
they're going
craziness.
into like Aleister Crowley and fucking white and black magic
Well, like
and
the Men in Black being around since like the 1700s and just like the craziness about it, and then them doing the what is it, the moon dog? I can't remember what it was called, but like the
Moon
ritual,
Child ritual.
moon dog. But
Yeah, the
like,
Moonchild ritual
yeah, the Moonchild,
and the
and that's-
Black Lodge.
and
that
it was after they did the Moonchild ritual that 3 years later all these new things started being seen, like the like
the new cryptos. Like,
the cryptos that like haven't been around forever.
Let Pandora's box open.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what they were, kind of, insinuating. I'm like, that's fucking crazy though to think that they did this, and then within a couple of years, all these new scary morphed like the Koopa Cadre,
The Koopa Gooding Juniors. Oh my God! Not sled dogs. Not radio.
like the Mothman.
Mothman, yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Mothman.
Like he came from all these new ones just came out, and
The Jersey Devil.
It's like folklore, though.
Jersey Devil.
that's-
for a
no,
while.
these things are all real, Chuck. Whoa!
Yeah.
Do you believe in God?
Huh?
Do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Do you believe wrestling's real?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you believe in the Lord Savior Jesus Christ that died for your sins? But you can't believe in Bigfoot and Jesus Christ.
I didn't say anything about Bigfoot. But
What about the skunk
Chupacabra,
ape?
Mothman,
Skunk ape.
it's the same thing as a Bigfoot.
It is not the same
It
thing.
is.
No.
They're
Chuck.
both big and stink.
I think there's more evidence of fucking the Mothman that happened with all the stuff that happened in the town from like what 68
Point
to 69.
Pleasant, West Virginia.
Point Pleasant, yeah,
from
because-
Silver Bridge.
There is fucking so much documentation of multiple people in that city that were seeing things. We're getting way off topic right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Chuck, you should believe in that stuff.
Yeah. If you're, I fully recommend reading
If you're
the Moth.
cool, Chuck, you'll
You're cool.
believe in
If
it.
you can believe in the Lord
Show me
Savior,
proof of both of them, then I'll believe it.
Reading the Mothman Prophecies by John Keel. Very
Huh?
good
You believe
book.
in
John
God, though?
Grisham.
What?
John
God, though?
Keel.
Show me proof of that one also. And
Okay,
we'll
then
see.
we're on the same page. All right.
Thank you. But I didn't see the Richard Gere Mothman Prophecies movie.
I hear that movie is horrible
Yeah, it is.
compared to the story.
It's excellent.
Laura Linney, that's her name. I've been trying to figure out her name for like a month
Yeah.
now.
Anyway,
Oh, man.
so what about Biggie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I listened
it's
to.
been very interesting.
Yeah, the one I chose was Chaos Magic, so I'm learning how to be a chaos magician.
like Alan Moore.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Are you going to jump into that feud, Mike, once you get it all established?
I don't know,
Oh, God.
man. I like
There's
Swamp
something
Thing.
I wanted to add to my nerd on, and then y'all bringing that up makes me want to bring it up even more.
Just get to the
Chris
point.
Angel and the Mind Freak.
Chuck's Mind Freak.
Because of a conversation a couple weeks ago, and Mike had to read an article
About the chaos magic between Alan Moore
and Grant Morrison.
Morrison, yeah.
I started Jerusalem. This long ass
yeah.
book from Alan Moore, and I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
So you're reading an Alan Moore book.
Yeah.
It literally starts off, it seems like in like 17th century Europe. It's pretty much near the actual hometown where Alan Moore grew up. And it's just going through this guy, he's sitting there, he's working on a sculpture, and all of a sudden it looks at him and he's freaked out, and then it goes to like a BMW driving by somebody. I don't know what the hell is going on with this book.
Gotcha.
I've looked at the overview of it, and I'm like, this 66 hours is going to suck bad.
66
A BMW just really throws Chuck off.
No, it's literally, it's like,
What the fuck's going on?
It's like, it's in like 17th, 18th century. This guy's like working on a sculpture.
It's chaos magic.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But regardless, when y'all started mentioning Alan Moore and all that stuff, I'm like, yeah, I started that shit.
Well, since
And
TJ's
one
been
last
spending
thing.
most of his life living in a gangster's paradise.
That's Coolio.
Actually,
I didn't say it wasn't.
Last thing, I can't believe any of us haven't talked about this from Iceland yet either. We went to the world's only penis museum,
That's true.
The
which was
Icelandic
appropriate for the four of us to walk into.
Phallological Museum, yes.
we
backed
added
up
four
right
more
in there.
dicks right into that place.
That's right.
We're like, our completion.
We got an idea of what it would be like to visit Chuck's apartment with the
We should donate Chuck's dick.
with the
Yeah.
scrotum covered lampshades and stuff.
I know.
There were people that had they had letters there of people who were donating their penals after their peners.
So
Why are you saying
surprise,
penal? Why are
Merry-
you being trying to be
Merry
scientific with
Christmas.
it?
We signed
Like
you up
peener.
to donate your peener.
And
When
we
you
put
die.
in a clause where you don't have to be dead.
Yeah. So
Just whenever
They'll
a
be by
puffin
next
can
week.
get a hold
Yeah.
of that.
So we put in a 5-year use it or lose it clause.
we were like, listen, it's just hanging there, not doing anything now. Might as well donate
You
it to a
can pee
museum.
out of a tube. So
If y'all can get a puff and shift here, I'll cut it off.
we're
I'll use that
just
as a pet. I want a puffin.
That's
we're
all it's going to
hey.
take for me to get your dick. I can make this happen.
Damn.
You want my
puffin? I
dick
can
now,
get you a
Nathan?
I can get your puppet. I'll get your dick.
Nate's like, hey,
This is the worst game of I got your nose ever. Got your dick. Got your dick.
here's an Arctic bird.
Nate's like, I got a puffin guy. We make this happen.
Well, Nathan's trying to leave, and it's his turn to
Wait.
nerd on.
Wait, are you saying puffin or puff him?
All right, we got to fluff this up for 5 minutes, guys.
Well, I also
we haven't already.
I forgot on the plane down there. I read a lot of comics, but I also watched Jack Reacher. Is that it?
Yeah, the
Tom Cruise?
no,
the
Jack Ryan?
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan
Yeah,
Krasinski
okay.
one.
Oh yeah, the Krasinski. Yeah, the
Amazon.
the Amazon one.
Mhm.
I watched about 3 or 4 episodes of that, and it was pretty good. I'm really enjoying him in other roles,
Yeah.
and I think so many people for so long were like, "That's Jim." And we're afraid. I was afraid for him that he was just going to be typecast. He's just Jim forever.
Yeah.
But I think he's really pushing and doing a good job at pushing himself through this
Into
to make himself something else.
Yeah.
Because it's still Krasinski, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still these Jim moments that you get. But I don't know. Even from a Silent Place and all that, I haven't felt like. He's just being Jim. It's just Jim in the scary movie. It's just Jim in this FBI
He has
type
range
movie.
beyond
He really does.
just the Jim Halpert character.
Yeah, and it's not a show that I would normally like really, really be into, other than I love John Krasinski. So,
Tom
so I
Clancy.
decided I'm not a Tom Clancy guy. So I decided to watch that, and I enjoyed the few episodes that I watched on the way there. So now Nathan's back, so he can finally nerd on himself.
I thought we were doing the news.
Yeah.
Hey, so I didn't really have much nerd so let's just go. Yeah. Besides Iceland, I watched.
You went to
Tag.
Iceland?
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. It was alright. The only thing I have really done this week that I don't think anybody else talked about is
Ernest
I
Scared
started a new show.
Stupid.
I did watch Ernest Scared Stupid,
No, skip
And-
that.
and then also started Army of Darkness while people were around. That was a
Yeah.
great movies. But I'm gonna butcher the name, but I believe it's the House Haunted Hill.
Yeah, the house on Haunted Hill.
I started that show.
Oh,
and-
the new one, the Netflix one.
Yes.
yeah.
That's the house on something. And that's something different, isn't it? It's not the house on Haunted Hill, I don't think.
It's something Haunted Hill and House.
There
and-
are hills and haunts and houses.
Yeah, Ray will look it up and get the
I'm
correct.
pretty
I'm
sure
working on
Nathan has it right.
But
Unfortunately,
I started that show, and it's living up to the hype. There's a lot of hype going around. It's doing really
They've
well on
been pushing
Netflix.
it pretty hard.
It's been blowing up. I came back and everybody at work was talking about it because I had not heard of the show.
The Haunting on Hill House.
There it is.
That's what it is. I knew it was close, but not quite that. Because I thought it was a remake at first, and then I was like, wait, that's a
Yeah.
different name entirely.
But it's definitely more thriller than scary. But when they're trying to be scary, they do a really good job. It's very intense. Where you're
It looked like it would be super. Is it very supernatural?
extremely.
Okay.
It's one of those things like I was reading
A
like
supernatural
in
thriller.
almost every scene there's a ghost in the background somewhere being hid.
Weird. Okay.
But it's about this family that was on in a house, the Hill House, and it was a very, very angry poltergeist that was haunting primarily the youngest daughter. But the whole family kind of dealt with it. One night their mom, and I'm only 3 episodes in, so they haven't really spelled it out. So this is what I think happened. But the mom went crazy from the poltergeist and killed herself. But while this was all going crazy, the dad woke him up in the middle of the night, takes him out of the house, and so you're doing a lot of back and forth of the family now,
in the family then.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's really well done. One of the sisters has psychic powers, she wears gloves all the time because when she touches people, she can see all the things they've done. Very frailty, great movie. But anyway,
Not a demon, Ari.
you're not a demon, Ari. I've enjoyed it. I will say, people are talking about it, and the hype's real. I can see why people are enjoying it. It's a really good story. It's a perfect October, show because it's got a lot of scary moments and. There's some scenes where you're like, what the fuck's about to happen? There's the smiling man, the lady with the broken neck. There's all these ghosts that are in it, and they're pretty fucking intense.
So they're almost like characters in it because they're in their.
They're in their own right. Yeah, they're they're the different people that I guess different hauntings that are going on.
Oh, that's interesting.
So highly suggest it. It's good. I'm looking forward to watching a couple episodes tonight, and then having to watch Parks and Recs to kind of like cleanse
To be able to go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Bled.
Hags aren't gonna fuck with you, man.
You know, I don't like to talk about hags because they're so scary. Hags are very real, Chuck. I know this for a fact.
There was a movie I was gonna buy you about a hag. I can't remember what it was called.
There is a great documentary.
Throw Mama from the train.
There's a documentary
real
about sleep paralysis, and they talk about hags a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking.
No, it was an actual
pretty
like fucking
scary.
movie. Like the main baddie was a hag.
It was
Fucking
probably called The
movie's called
Hag.
porno.
Yeah, it probably was. But that's my main thing for my nerd on. So let's go on to the news.
Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce you to the newsman of the evening, Jimmy Ray Hancock. Come on now. He's with the news. You're gonna read the news now. Jimmy Ray is with the news. Hey Ray, what type of news you got tonight? Well, I hope it's good. This is Ray with the news. Here we go. Ray's with the news chat. Ray's reading the news chat. Ray's reading the news chat. Ray's reading the news chat.
All right, guys. Well, we're 2 weeks out, so we got a lot of news. So let's get through it.
All right.
Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is coming out, or is it out yet?
I think it came out on the
Maybe
12th.
came out while we were gone.
Yeah.
Day one, we get a 50 gigabyte patch that's required, and for PS4, it's actually going to be 115 gigabytes because the way PS4 does, you have to download the whole shebang. This is a lot.
Fucking ridiculous.
I mean, Red Dead's supposed to be 100 gigabyte install, and
But that's the install.
That's
This is a
the
patch
yeah,
that
I
you
know.
have to have.
I'm just saying, what other game am I supposed to have on my system when I'm got
you
those
can
other
have-
ones on there?
Which two games do you want to have?
Exactly.
None play this forever.
But I mean, my big thing is like I get the install because of how big Red Dead is going to be, but a patch that big, a day
For
one
a first-person shooter,
why couldn't they have done this to begin with? I know
Well,
they're trying to get it out by a certain time.
That has to be part of it. Like they didn't have the
But-
game finished, obviously.
But all I can
fortunately-
think about is like people like the Mikes of the world that like will go buy this game and then
Don't have enough internet to download
Yeah.
that patch.
you know that literally cripples you from being able to buy a game.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know, and most people have high speed internet, but there's still a high level of people in
Downloading
America
50
that don't
gigabytes
have that.
though
Yeah.
is nuts.
That's-
That's a long download.
that's like trying to download a song back in the late 90s.
Well, that means
37,000 kilobytes.
that means
No.
the midnight releases are pretty much pointless for that game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you wait till midnight to go buy that to come home and go to bed to install it?
Yeah.
It's
you can't
things like
touch it.
that.
A lot of stores nowadays. I know that some GameStop on certain releases they won't even do it. They don't do a midnight release anymore. They do like a 6 or 7 p.m. the night before.
Yeah.
So you
give you
can
time.
get home and install this 50 gigabyte game or whatever else.
Because regardless,
And
you can't
hopefully
play
play
till the
it by
next day.
midnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get this installed,
Yeah.
it'll be
And the-
midnight.
and the patch.
Yeah.
You could throw it in, or they have like pre-installs or something like that. If you buy digital, you can pre-install it like 3 days beforehand, and then they just unlock it to play on the day of.
Yeah. Crazy. This is crazy. But it's looking like more and more this is the way things are going.
It's a way to meet deadlines without,
Actually
still
meeting them.
being able to work on the product.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it. It's so lazy.
Because I'm just like, I get it. You got production, but does it really take that long to send a game off to get it printed on a disc and shipped out?
Well, you've got to have it all packaged. You have to have it
For all the printing and everything.
yeah, I can see it, and it's a big marketing thing. You've put all of your marketing budget on this release date and everything else. You've been paying GameStop and Best Buy and Walmart all these millions of dollars.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, at the most, when they send a disc off, like how long is it taking for them to get it all printed and made from the release date? Because that means obviously that they still have to make that patch by the end date.
From the time it goes gold until it's released, I think it's a 3-week period.
goes gold.
So
in gaming terms, when a game goes gold, that means it's going to the presses. It's going.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say when I've done like CDs and stuff, and it's still like pretty currently from talking to people in the music stuff, it still takes about a month to get 1,000 CDs printed because you have wait times in there and everything. So it's not like an actual printing of it; it's the wait time in
I
between.
could see that and
getting shipped.
But when you're Call of Duty, you got your own people that are going to print that for you. You're gonna
I honestly don't think they do. I bet they send it off to get it printed somewhere.
See, my biggest thing is like I get like with going back with like Street Fighter V, they did that shit. They released a game that wasn't done. Several patches later, releasing stuff. Call of Duty, they have a crowd that's going to buy that game regardless. Why not push it back 2-3 weeks?
Oh no, that 2-3 weeks
big of a release.
That 2-3 weeks from Call of Duty coming out, Red Dead's out in 2-3 weeks.
But the people that their fans are going to buy that game regardless.
Maybe, but they may not buy it day one. They may wait at that point. I get Red Dead. I had to wait for it. I'll get Red Dead now because it's out. Because me and Mike have been in this situation with it. We'll get Red Dead because it's out now, or we'll get this game since it's out, and we'll get the other one.
Gotcha.
Later.
No, I totally get it. I guess my thinking on it is like how much patching is there left to do within that 3-week period.
I think
but I guess obviously a lot if it's
I think a lot of it's things that they found in the betas.
Yeah.
Some of it is going to be, or it could be stuff that they could not put on the disc.
3 weeks worth of work, like hardcore work. Like probably these developers are not going to sleep a lot during that time.
No,
they can get a lot done in that 3 weeks.
Yeah,
a lot of bugs and stuff like that. Probably.
Gotcha.
Working them out.
And with Call of Duty, it's not just one development team in one studio.
It's 3, isn't it?
Yeah. There's 3 like main branches that do the main titles.
Yeah.
But there's like sub-developing teams in like another city or whatever else that are helping with different parts of that game. So because they do an annual cycle on Call of Duty, they have like 3. I think it's 3 studios now.
They have 3 Sledgehammer,
Treyarch, and Infinity Ward.
Yeah.
So those 3 studios are the main ones, but they have little satellite studios that work on different parts. So if they've got somebody else working on physics or something else while they're working on the engine or whatnot, and so it's a really complicated process, and then you have to get all this into one place and get it to work right and all that. I can see why it can be stressful and why they can't, but I agree. I think they should just push the dates back.
But I mean, if it's an annual release, right? They try to put one out almost every year.
Yeah.
Why are you... If you've done this for a year, each process, why are you now having to drop?
Years, not just 1 year. That's why they have 3 teams. So one team's the head team on this Black Ops game. Mm-hmm. The other one, is it still Modern Warfare, Mike, or is it another one?
They're doing Advanced Warfare.
Okay, so there's Advanced Warfare, and then there's another Call of Duty title, I think. And so this one's Treyarch, right?
Black Ops is Treyarch. Yes.
Yeah, so and Infinity Ward's going to do another version of Call of Duty that comes out the following year.
Yeah.
Because it's at least a 3-year development cycle on these games.
Okay, so then there's no excuse then to have a patch then if they've had almost 3 years to do this next cycle.
Not necessarily. I mean, like I said, with the way the graphics and everything else, there's various things that can go wrong, and one bug in one place can throw off a whole system of everything else. I mean, they take 7 years to do an Elder Scrolls game, and you still have a buggy as fuck game that comes out because people do weird shit on a video game when you give them the option to. So.
All right, moving on.
So a couple of weeks ago, we find out that after the release of Iron Fist Season 2, that did pretty well critically. Season 3 canceled. Not getting a Season 3. And this last week, we also hear that after another season that was pretty well received critically, Luke Cage not getting a Season 3 either.
Yeah, reading that article was interesting because I guess it came down to a lot of creative differences between
That's what it sounded like.
Marvel, Netflix, and I guess the writing staff.
There's
Of
also
people.
financial and contracts too.
But well, because like everything that I was saying is like the writers were trying their best to balance it. Take Marvel's notes and Netflix's notes and do it. But I guess it was Netflix and Marvel that were butting heads a lot. Which you got to think with Marvel, slowly be a part of Disney with Disney Play. Obviously, they're going to make money, but like I can see that being an issue.
The things that I felt were interesting with this is when they said that Iron Fist was canceled, Netflix said that they were not planning on canceling other Marvel things, that they love the content that they're putting out, and they have a good relationship.
And they're happy with the character, or they were happy with the characters, and that the characters weren't going anywhere necessarily.
Yeah, we've also heard that these characters are not like I guess we don't know what the contracts are, of course, but these characters are not going to be going over to Disney Play.
Yeah, exactly. There's no plan to bring them over.
No, yeah. So because that's what a lot of people think this is they're canceling this stuff so that number one, Netflix is not going to cancel it so Marvel can take it back.
Yeah, because also Disney Play, they said they're not going to have any rated R content.
Yeah, and this is very rated R.
Rated R. Well,
go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, I was going to think Iron Fist wasn't, but there is quite a bit of violence with blood to it. So
the other side of it is this. I don't know if this is a possibility, but I thought when I heard Iron Fist went, then when I heard Luke Cage went, I automatically
those are two very
started
specifics.
Heroes for Hire.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Is that they're but it doesn't really make sense with the end of
Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
Luke Cage season 2,
especially because they were in the middle of writing. Like these were. This isn't like, are we going to make it? They were in the middle of actually writing the season, and like trying to develop and build it. And as they were writing, that's where these issues started.
I believe it said that they were in the middle of rewriting it to make it a 10-episode series instead of a 13.
They had to shorten it from 13 to 10, which I guess was apparently something between it. I when I read that, I was like, that makes sense. But apparently there was something in whatever the story they were doing, or something was causing Disney and Netflix to butt heads. And obviously it'll never tell us. It was just creative differences.
Yeah.
But it sounds like those two characters are dead. But with that being said, Daredevil's still on track.
Jessica Jones
has season 3.
Punisher.
And Punisher season 2 are still gone. They just dropped season 3 of Daredevil. And no one said anything about a season 4 of Daredevil. But I think TJ's on the right track here, that there is a possibility that this is not going to be. There's not going to be an Iron Fist and Luke Cage, because there might be a Heroes for Hire.
I think it's dead in the water for him. Just from reading that article and the way it read, I don't think it's dead.
I think that's smoke screens, honestly.
Why would it be dead in the water?
There's no reason to smoke screen. If they have other things, why would they be writing and literally trying to condense it and then kill it? If they're going to go to Heroes for Hire, they want to still release content. Like,
they want to still release content, but
no
they
reason
want to control the way that
But smoke screening on that, like, they would release, we're doing this because of this. To kill it off?
Not necessarily.
I disagree. I think it's dead.
It's the same reason they haven't announced the title for the 4th Avengers movie.
Yeah.
To build hype.
But I don't get...
But there's no hype when you just kill something.
They have to cancel it to be able to start this other one.
I disagree.
Unless the only thing I can see...
and I bet that I'm right.
Because I remember one of the points of the article they were talking about was the financial aspect of it, was the fact that Netflix is making more and more shows. They didn't have enough to put into these Marvel shows.
Well, not necessarily. I think it was they got to get huge returns, because now there's so much. It's like, why when we made these shows years ago. It was 3 years ago. It's not even that long ago.
But they were getting a big tax break, and that's still, even with that tax break for New York City, it was affecting. They weren't making enough.
But when they released them, they would get huge response because there wasn't a lot of content. Now Netflix has so much
content
that it's easy to get lost in the waves of stuff, and
just put it on their front page.
But that does make sense for Iron Fist. It doesn't make sense for Luke Cage, honestly.
Both season 2s were amazing.
Season 2 of Iron Fist was amazing, but I could see it not having as many people watch it because of how badly received season 1 was.
And Defenders.
Yeah. But season 1 of Luke Cage did well.
Who's breathing in the...
Me.
Oh, okay.
And
I just ran back in here. Sorry.
season 1 of Luke Cage and season 2 of Luke Cage did well. So we'll just, I guess, have to see
Yeah.
what comes from this.
No more.
Because there is not going to be a Defender season 2.
Oh, yeah, they've already announced
because
that a long
they're
time
like
ago.
there was never
No intention.
Never an
Yeah.
intention to do that. So, but it is surprising. Like I guess Jessica Jones did well. Like Netflix doesn't release these numbers, so we don't know how well they actually did.
Like, I enjoyed the second season, but I could have seen that
the
one.
Jessica Jones season 2 was, I would say, worse than the Luke Cage season 2. Luke Cage season 2 was excellent
I
compared
think
to
if they would have got rid of Jessica Jones instead of Luke Cage, I wouldn't have had a problem.
Well, I love Jessica Jones.
No,
But
you do.
anyway, so here's a
I am
rumor.
sad to hear about Luke Cage.
I am, yeah. Have you watched season 2 yet?
I haven't
Season
even
2
watched
is
it, but
excellent.
I did enjoy the first season. I
watch it.
and I liked the actor. I thought he was,
Especially because Luke Cage is a little bit different because it has all the musical aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of them have their music things, but they had like
Luke
actual
Cage is
artists and
a
stuff.
Beautiful
Soundtrack,
merger of
yeah.
soundtrack.
I thought when Mondo put out the vinyl for it, I thought very much about purchasing that because that, and the season 2 is just as good, maybe better.
The characters in season 2 with Cage, Mariah, Shades, Bushmaster, everybody.
Bushmaster,
I
yeah.
think the character development they have in the arcs, the other series that Netflix has done with Marvel, they haven't come to that level yet.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. Moving on, this is a rumor. The rumor is that the CW might be developing a Superman TV series with Tyler Hoechlin?
Perry.
Tyler Perry's Superman.
Medea's
But this
So that's the guy that plays Superman on Supergirl, right?
Supergirl, yeah. And
Looks like David Buckaloo.
they've said that they aren't going to do this. There's the Krypton show already going on Sci-Fi, and they seem like they were being a little standoffish of like Batman and Superman in their CW world, their Arrowverse.
I get it because it kind of overshadows the other guys.
Yeah. I wonder if this, because we've had all the rumors of Cavill leaving Superman and possibly DC movies moving away from Superman and Batman.
I think it could be that. It could be DC's realizing that these superhero properties might just be better suited for TV series, and the technology might be close enough to really do an
actual serial.
Well, like,
actual
like a
series
comic.
on it. Yeah,
and Superman can be. He's almost perfect for TV because he can be the Boy Scout Superman.
Yep.
That is perfect for like that hammy TV show style.
Yeah.
Where he's got the powers, but you can mix in like that straight laced guy with comedy.
Mhm.
Doesn't have to be like the super serious dark DC.
Yeah.
Like have Superman be like the straight man and have a bunch of craziness going on around him.
Yeah.
And be enjoyable. I mean, it can absolutely be done. They've done Superman numerous times with like Lois and Clark, fucking Smallville. Like Superman works well on the small screen.
Superman
think it's-
animated series.
Yeah.
Do you think it's too much having Arrow, Flash, what's the Guardians of, what's the
Legends of
Tomorrow, Supergirl,
And then
Superman and Batwoman.
I mean,
That's a lot.
it's a lot, but I mean, obviously, apparently, there's an audience for it.
Yeah, there
because
is.
all those shows are doing respectable. I don't know if they're doing well, like
Yeah.
where you can say, but I mean, most of those shows are on their 4th, 5th season now.
Flash is season 5, Arrow's 6 or 7?
And Supergirl's probably 3 or 4.
I like it because it's like you go to your comic shop.
Yeah.
You have variety.
Yeah, you have a variety, so you don't. You
Which
don't
is-
go to a comic shop and say, "Well, they've only got Superman comics." Well,
I can
can't
watch
have a
I can
Batman
read
comic.
Superman or
Yeah.
Batman.
Because that's the thing I will say with just the small exposure I've had, the amount of other characters that are getting put out there with these shows.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time with DC's movies, it was literally Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman. And now you're getting all this exposure. Legends of Tomorrow, characters, I had no idea who the fuck they were.
Yeah.
Like Firestorm and all them.
Oh,
Okay,
I love
cool.
Firestorm ever since I
Give
was
me
a
more
kid.
of that. You have Supergirl, Green Arrow, all the people
That
for
was
that.
my
viewers.
favorite Howie Long movie as well.
So I think if they play it smart and they keep doing their shows well, that may be what Marvel's doing for the movies, what DC's doing for their shows.
It seems weird to me that you already have a Supergirl and now you're going to have a Superman. Because especially in TVs, like in comics, it works because you have a lot to pull from. But even though there are a lot of these CW shows, there's still 6 or 7 or whatever. So it's weird that they're going to have 2 that are
I'm curious,
basically the same.
But they love allowing crossovers between episodes.
Love that stuff.
But Supergirl's a lot different type of comic book show than the others are because it focuses on a lot of that kind of, I don't want to say it the wrong way, that kind of romantic, kind of, not romantic necessarily, but
there's more story to her just being a superhero.
Yeah, it's more than, it's not Supergirl it's not all Supergirl.
It's more about her being Kara.
Yeah, it's that relationships that she has in the office and everything. So it's a different type of show than The Flash. The Flash is a lot of Barry doing superhero-y things and stuff like that.
And BFFs and stuff like that, like doing science-y things and all. Well, so this is new news. Apparently, CBS is developing a Secret Six TV show, which Secret Six is a DC property. Honestly, to me, I don't know a whole lot about Secret Six.
Me neither.
It sounds like Suicide Squad, but it's like Bane and Shot, what's his name from Deadshot and Ragman and stuff like that. The project follows 6 morally ambiguous strangers, each with their own unique specialty and secret past. They are brought together by a figure who blackmails them into working as a team to expose the corruption of the corporate and political elite. Sounds like Suicide Squad to me, sort of. I know there has to be a little bit of a difference there, but it's interesting that CBS is having a pilot of this anyway.
I mean, that's where Supergirl started.
In a pilot?
No, Supergirl started on CBS.
It was CBS
yes, absolutely.
For season 1, and then season 2 CW picked it up.
Yep. That's true. So so that's something that they're working on. Let's move on to a little bit of movie news. Apparently, James Gunn is working on writing and possibly directing Suicide Squad 2.
Smart for Warner Brothers.
Real fucking smart of Warner Brothers.
Yep.
If dark and gritty.
Yeah.
We don't mind dirty jokes.
There's the stuff's already out there. They can't fall in a steam or anything out on it because everybody knows it. So it's.
I wonder what time frame of music he'll tie it to. Maybe the 80s. I could see Suicide Squad being tied to the 80s.
They tried to sort of rip that kind of style for the first one.
Yeah.
So this is almost a best case scenario for them.
And I barely remember the movie. I remember the trailer doing it a lot, but I don't remember the movie tying it as hard.
There was some music in it.
There was definitely scenes, but it definitely, like the trailers, I was like, man, they're going hard.
We talked about this. We felt like it was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like that was some of the editing that they did. They were like, we got now that Guardians has done so good, we got to throw these songs in there. But now they've got the actual guy working on it, and I think this could be really good for them.
This could be the shot in arm DC needs.
Could be.
What a fuck you to Marvel.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if it does well.
Now, why do you say shot in the arm?
Because DC right now, their only property that is proven to be successful as far as they're concerned is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Suicide Squad did okay.
Yeah. Justice League did
horrible
to what they were expecting.
Yeah. I think Batman vs Superman did do well financially.
Yeah, but it was panned pretty hard.
Yeah, I'll give you the nod with Wonder Woman, but you still have people. Some people are thinking
Aquaman has not come out yet.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet.
But a lot of people, they've got a lot of praise for it.
Again, hasn't come out yet. Yeah, I think it's due, in December?
Yes.
Yeah, early December.
So nobody's seen anything except for a trailer. And you can edit a trailer to look good.
Oh, yeah.
There's some critics that have already seen this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this is that kind of, hey, we need something to really talk about besides how shitty our stuff has been and how much. Can you imagine a scenario 5 years ago where we're expecting Aquaman to be the savior of the DC
Yeah,
extended
It's just the
movie
amount of
universe.
Irony that you really need.
Exactly. So having James Gunn come in, he's proven quantity as far as these superhero shows and stuff, or superhero movies. He took a fucking tree and a raccoon
and made something out of it,
and made it a multi-million-dollar franchise.
This is the kind of guy you want on your side.
Now, what if Aquaman does hit off like Wonder Woman does?
Well, then why not have a third one?
Even better.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you have more options, which is finally something people for DC want
Really need,
besides Batman and Superman.
But if they can get their ensemble stuff going too,
They need that. Because even Wonder Woman doing okay, like DC is still looked at as a dying franchise.
And
the
okay, you
movies.
did great.
As much of a Marvel fanboy as I am, and I love the movies,
You want the
I
competition.
don't love to see the DC stuff fail.
You want competition.
There's part of the make mine Marvel in me that's like, yeah, I knew it was better. But I still love superheroes. I still love comic books. I mean, I watched Titans. I watched the first episode of that. I've been watching Teen Titans Go. I've watched The Flash. I watch Arrow. I think Arrow is shit, but I watch it sometimes. I still like this stuff. So if James Gunn can make that happen, I'm all for it. And I think he got a shit deal from Marvel and from Disney.
It was just a PR thing, but the whole thing y'all have mentioned before, it's like if the DC movies get better, that forces Marvel to now stop being complacent and keep stepping it up.
Well, let's move on to someone else who we think's doing shitty, but is actually doing pretty well for some reason. Sony, with Venom's been doing pretty well, but they're developing something else, Chuck. They're developing something to really give it to everyone. They're developing a reboot of Universal Soldier.
I'm stepping outside to go smoke.
Hold on.
Didn't we
I'm
have
stepping
this
outside
already?
to smoke. Fuck that.
Did they get Jean-Claude back?
Do they need to get him back?
Fuck yes, they do. They need Dolph Lundgren.
Was he ever really gone?
Not in my heart. He's always here. I love Universal Soldier, man. Growing up, fucking movie was amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
the first one.
I love Ghostbusters too.
The first Universal Soldier was a lot of fun.
So here's a rumor for us. The rumor is that Avengers 4 may be titled Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
That already happened.
This is old news.
Well, it's a rumor. It's a rumor. There's kind of a leaked something out there that's sort of a trailer.
Yeah, I heard there was a leaked synopsis of a trailer.
Yeah.
That's out and about.
I saw the shaky cam of it, and as the title comes up, it says Avengers Annihilation. That could be very interesting, especially with the. It honestly all could fit, and could be really interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the toy images too of the new uniforms and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is.
Annihilation was more Voltron, wasn't it? Am I incorrect? Like the comics, Annihilation had a lot to do with Voltron.
Voltron?
Not Voltron. Ultron. Sorry.
Woo.
Yeah. Sorry.
Man, you had me like, Nathan, are you all right?
What kind of good shit have you been on this week?
There was some stuff with Ultron in, I think it was Annihilation Quest, maybe.
Was it? I remember when Ultron was coming out. Like,
there was
Annihilation
Quest,
was always suggested.
Annihilation Conquest, Annihilation. There were a couple of offshoots of that, and because that's the one where you have Adam Warlock and then Warlock from the New Mutants. Which is very, very fucking confusing because Warlock's dad's name is Magus, and Adam Warlock's alter ego is Magus. So yeah, that gets really fucking confusing. But I think Ultron stole Adam Warlock to put him in Ultron bodies or something. It was something really fucked up.
Yeah,
crazy.
I think it was Annihilation Conquest.
Yeah, which is part of the Annihilation thing, but not probably what they would be pulling off of. Also, Ryan Coogler is to write and direct Black Panther 2 with a possible 2021 release. I don't think that's a surprise for anyone.
No.
It's just has been announced now, so I don't think anyone's falling out of their chair over that one.
Yeah, I think the date on it's...
that's a tentative date, and
it fits
February 2021.
Oh no, that makes perfect sense.
At this point, it makes sense.
And that again, that's just that's a guesstimate. So that's not it.
It'll definitely be February release.
Flash production has been pushed back for the movie of Flash. It's been pushed back to 2019 with the release of 2021 for that. It seems like they've had a lot of issues with this Flash production. It's because Ezra Miller, who is playing the Flash, is also in Fantastic Beast. So there's some issues with scheduling and all of that. So the screenwriter for Kraven the Hunter, that's another one of Sony's Spider-Man spin-offs, says that the movie is going to be based on Kraven's Last Hunt, and that it will feature Spider-Man.
Well, that's good.
There's no real... we
introduce a character for his last story.
Yeah,
that's a great way to do it.
It's weird because I don't know when this is planning on being out, but that might be after the Marvel Sony handshake.
I think it's like a 5-year movie deal.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know when this is going to be,
and if that gets renewed at all.
Yeah, exactly. So because Marvel hasn't really said anything about this, and there was that weirdness between Sony and Kevin Feige when they talked about Venom and stuff. So the Spidey Far From Home suit, we got some screenshots and some images of the new suit. There's a lot of black in it.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the blue would be, there's a lot of black. I don't know if that's hinting at anything. I doubt it, because why would they do symbiote stuff? But
black and red's more Miles colors.
That's true.
And
as
superior.
well.
His are more. Yeah, it's more superior than it is Miles. Miles is more of a black with red lining.
Red lining, yeah. All right, and we got a teaser and a trailer this week. We got a teaser for Aladdin, Disney's Aladdin, the live action version.
I think it's maybe the first one I see live action.
Maybe me too. I liked Aladdin as a kid.
No, Beauty and the Beast was really good.
That's what I've heard. It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's worth
Yeah.
watching.
I'll watch that shit then.
Yeah, it was worth a watch, definitely. I haven't seen Maleficent, which I think was one of the first ones to kick this all off.
All the live action ones have been pretty decent. I didn't care for the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
But they're all okay. None of them are amazing, but they're entertainment, and you don't walk away going, that was a waste of 2 hours.
So mostly from this, we only get the first sort of scene that you get from the cartoon where they're going into the tiger's head or whatever.
You see Agrabah, and then you see Iago flying, and then it's to the tiger's mouth. The Cave of Wonders, my bad.
Yeah. And you see Aladdin going for the lamp, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So we don't get a whole lot from it, but a little bit. So Pet Sematary trailer. We got a trailer for a new Pet Sematary.
Stephen King.
What are y'all's thoughts? Y'all love some Stephen King, don't
Welcome
you?
back from
It was the
Welcome back, John Lithgow.
Oh yeah,
from Broadway. Doing that stuff.
You've been Broadwaying it up lately.
Yeah,
it's been forever since I've seen the original movie, but I've read the book earlier this year, and there's some stuff they showed in the trailer. I do not think they ever mentioned
to the
the kids walking in the fucking woods with the masks and the drums. I'm like,
that was pretty creepy looking.
No, don't remember that ever being in the book.
That wasn't in the book, but I mean, they talked about kids, taking their pets back there, but the actual imagery and whatnot, I think they're having a little carte blanche with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm ready for it because
Chuck will go see it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I love the remake of It. So if they do this more with some of King's other works, I don't have a problem with it at all. I'll be there to see it opening night.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's it for the news. We've got 3 mailbag questions, so we'll come back and answer those quick and let y'all go. I know.
What gives you the right?
All right, our first question is from Christopher. He wants to know, Chuck, how much wood could you chuck if you could chuck wood?
All the wood.
All the wood. Chuck will always chuck all of it that you give him. Any amount of wood that comes Chuck's way, he's going to chuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Marshall asks, the new Halloween movie is great. That's not a question, Brian. What other old school horror movies would you guys love to see make a comeback on the big screen? Michael.
Watcher in the Woods.
Ooh. Wasn't there a remake of that recently?
No.
I have no idea.
That was that old creepy ass Disney movie.
I thought there was a remake within the last 5-10 years.
There's Escape to Witch
I'm gonna say
Mountain.
Pumpkinhead.
What's
I think
Pumpkinhead?
that
Is
is
that
an
some sort of
underrated
grandmother?
film.
It is very
It is,
underrated.
but who would you have to replace the role of Lance Henriksen?
I have
You
no
just
clue.
have him just come back and do
yeah.
it again.
Fuck
Or he
yeah,
could be
have him come do
Pumpkinhead.
it again.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most underrated horror films
Oh, it is.
that I can think of. Honestly,
Yeah.
Just the
no one
the
ever
design.
talks about it.
Wasn't that a Stan Winston creation?
I couldn't.
I
tell you.
believe so.
Okay.
I want to see Puppet Master come back.
Oh man,
Ah,
I'm surprised you didn't say Leprechaun. But
I love Leprechaun, but like that movie hasn't. I think they'll probably remake that one in a couple.
well, the fifth one had
they'll
Hornswoggle
just do
from the WWE.
another sequel.
Apparently, it was horrible.
Leprechaun in the Hood was where they really came full around, and they were like, "Yeah, we're nothing but a joke." Let's
That's
just.
where they really embraced the mythology was.
Leprechaun in the Hood is such a hilarious movie. It's so bad, and they knew what they were making. They knew they were making a shit movie.
I'd say Black Cauldron
Oh,
from
okay.
Disney.
The old cartoon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a live action version of that would be kind of
That'd be interesting to see.
to see.
There used to be so many of those weird ass kind of creepy like witches
Mhm.
and stuff like that. They're like will really fuck you up as a kid, but were kid movies, and it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck were you people thinking? And a lot of them were Disney.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mike Yates says, "What do you guys think?"
I never said what I would
I thought
want.
you did.
No.
Well, hurry up.
Probably Reanimator.
All right.
Oh, Jesus, Chuck.
What?
That movie's fucking fucked up.
I don't
Yeah.
think that one needs a remake.
No.
I think you get exactly what you need with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Critters.
Critters. There you go.
There you
Gremlins.
go. Yeah, I could go
honestly
for a new
surprised
Gremlins
there
movie.
hasn't been a new Gremlins. That's
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked.
Give it 5 years.
yeah. All right, Mike Yates says, "What do you guys think of the new Titans show on the DC streaming app?"
I don't know, Ray. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was one of my nerd-ons, but I saved it for you, Mike. I watched the first episode today, mostly because I had some extra time and you asked about it. And I know a lot of people have been like really hard on the trailer and everything, haven't liked the design of the characters. I watched the first episode and I actually enjoyed it. I think they did a good job with their CGI is used very sparsely, and I think that's very smart. I don't think the budget's huge on this stuff. It was shot weird. There were some weird shots, not bad, just weird. And they kept things pretty dark, which I think helps with something that's a lower budget like this. The acting so far, I've been pretty into. They've been pretty good actors. I was really pleasantly surprised with the first episode. There's only 2 episodes out right now. The second one is Hawk and Dove are in it. So I haven't seen that one. And this one, basically all I got was a lot of Robin and being a cop in Detroit. Because he's left Gotham.
Yeah.
Raven has shown up in it, and she has they use a lot of the CGI from like the when it's a creepy girl and they have the cracks in their face and their black eyes, so you get a lot of that, which is easy and it works. It works for her, and some Starfire, and so far I'm into it. I mean, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Starfire looks like a hooker." Well, maybe she is in this show. You don't know.
No. And when hasn't she looked like
Well,
one?
yeah. I mean, she's. Well, you've seen what she's wore before.
Yeah.
But,
Or not war.
Yeah, or not war. But so far, I've really enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep watching it. I think the 3rd episode comes out in like 3 days or something like that. So I'll probably watch the 2nd episode here in the next day or 2 and keep on going with it. But so far, I'm into it. We'll see what happens. I think Stargirl's the next thing they have coming out on that. So hopefully this does well and we get more of this kind of stuff because.
More original content with new characters.
And it's better than I think everyone expected it to be. So,
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I have a question, Ray.
Ask me the question.
Okay, so it's been about a month since DC Universe launched.
Uh-huh. Do you want to know how many comics I've read on there? 0.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to know what you think of the value you've gotten for it so far. One month in.
I bought the whole year, and I get 15 months.
Yeah.
I was very, very disappointed with the amount of comics that were on there, and there were very few that I actually even cared about. They have been one of the series that I was like, I would read this was Teen Titans, the George Perez Teen Titans and stuff like that. And they have been adding to that, so I'm excited about that. Some other things, I would like to see more Vertigo stuff on there, because there's basically, I don't think there's any right now. And like the other things, like the Superman and Batman, and like they're the big heavy hitters.
Yeah,
I think the new 52 Batman, there might be the Court of Owls might be on there, and that's it. And the other Batman stuff, they'll have like 20 or 30 issues, but they're not sequential. They're like
all over the place.
all over
like
the place.
3 issues here, then like
and it's probably storylines. But if I'm gonna read, I want to read the whole thing.
Vertigo is that a creator imprint as well?
I don't believe so, but I'm not sure.
Like Sandman, I think didn't he retain Gaiman retain rights to that?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay,
yeah, but I think it's.
I think you might be right, just because like with the movie, every time they talk about the Sandman movie, he's always mentioned as well. So I think he does.
Yeah,
rights.
That could be a reason why that's not on there, because they haven't gotten rights from him for it.
But I think it's still too early to tell, because I was trying to stream this from my phone today, and I could get Chromecast to work in the app, but I couldn't get Titans to stream from Chromecast in the app. So it's early in its life cycle, and it's still pretty buggy. So I haven't done a ton with it. I downloaded a lot of the Batman animated series to watch those on the plane ride, but I ended up not watching them, so they're still on my tablet.
Gotcha.
So I don't feel like I can honestly say yet.
Okay, I was going to ask you again in 6 months too.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, it's only been a month, correct?
Yeah.
How was Marvel Unlimited in a month?
I mean, I read a shitload of stuff on Marvel Unlimited the first month I got it. But I mean, that's Marvel for me.
But did you get it the first month it came out?
No.
So there you go. You don't know how it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it, guys.
I'm done.
Long time.
Bye, bitches.
We missed y'all.
I haven't spoken this much in a while.
Thanks for another exciting episode of Nerds Who Get Laid. Later,
Sometimes.
everybody.
Nerds Who Get Laid Sometimes is recorded at the illustrious Big Brown Record Town Studios in beautiful downtown Lake City. Episodes are published each Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and Google Play. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdswhogetlaid. We're at Nerds Who Get Laid on Twitter and Instagram. We're part of the Geeks World Wide podcast network. You can find reviews and articles we write at thegww.com. We're also part of the Modest Pod podcast network. We're on FloridaGeekscene.com and also WeBeGeeksPC.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean. You can also check out the show notes for links about things we talk about in this episode. Thanks so much.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks Worldwide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks Assemble!